So this project is a little wooden caddy that I got at a thrift store for a few bucks. And we're going to be using the Sweet Pickins milk paint in the color Artichoke. And I'm going to be using this color throughout the video. I'm doing a little vignette in my booth. I'm going to start incorporating some fall colors. So with the milk paint, you do 1-to-1 ratio with the milk paint and water. So I put in about 1/4 cup of paint. I'm going to put in the same amount of water. And then I'm going to use an immersion blender to mix it up because it makes it really nice and thick and smooth when you use this. You can use a whisk or fork or whatever you have on hand, but these little blenders make it really nice. And then I've got my Klingon R20 brush. I learned the hard way. I used to just use whatever kind of brush from like the Dollar Tree and stuff, but after having to throw those away and go back and buy more, it was worth my time to actually invest in some nice brushes that are going to last me a lot longer. So I gave this piece 2 good coats of the milk paint, and then we're going to, for the sides, we're going to use DIY's beadboard because we're going to do some decoupage on the ends. I just used 1 coat for this. And here is the napkins that we're going to be using. How pretty is that? And then it was just a 2-ply, so I went ahead and removed the back tissue off of it. It makes it a lot easier to decoupage to the surface. And we're going to be using the DIY liquid patina. And I'm going to put on a really good coat. Because this is such a small area, I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole thing all at once. Now, if it was a big piece, then I would want to be doing sections, different sections of it. But it was small enough to be able to just go ahead and lay the whole piece down. Just going to kind of pat it in there. And then usually I have my saran wrap, but I forgot to get that handy. You'll see me looking for it. So I just used a baby wipe to help pat it down and get some of those wrinkles out. And then I'm just going to rip off most of the edges and then let it dry. And then we're going to go ahead and take some sandpaper. I think it's 100 grit sandpaper. I'm going to go ahead and just smooth down any bumps or lumps from the paint, make it nice and velvety smooth, and distress back a little bit of that wood color. And then I'm just going to go ahead and use up the liquid patina, since I already have it out, to seal up the paint. So now we're going to be using the 220 grit sandpaper. We're going to be taking off the edges of the napkin. And I'm just going to go in a downward motion along that line. And that's going to take off any excess decoupage paper and give it a nice, smooth, clean edge. You want to make sure that your decoupage paper is dry, though, because if you do it when it's wet, it's just going to tear that paper. And on to the next project. These are just a couple of really easy things that I'm going to do. Sorry, I forgot to push the play button when I started this piece, but it was just a wooden candle holder and it was stained a dark color. So I just went ahead and used up some more artichoke, Sweet Pickins artichoke color, and painted that 1 coat. And I'm going to let that dry. And then I'm going to end up sanding it down just a little bit to bring some of that darker color out. You can see here that distressed dark color is coming out. And then I'm going to also seal this with the liquid patina. I don't know about you guys, but I am ready for fall. I'm ready for cooler temperatures. These 102, 103-degree days are just killing us over here in Washington. So I like the cooler days. It's a lot easier to get stuff done and to be able to work outside. And then for the next piece, I have like a ton of rolling pins, so I thought that would be really cute to just do the ends on one of these rolling pins, because this is a really nice one so it can still be used. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint that artichoke color on the ends. And again, I'll distress it back and then seal it with the liquid patina. Now, if you don't like the distressing, you can totally omit that part of it, but I'm kind of into the farmhouse still style, so I do like a little bit of distressing. For the middle portion, I am going to put on some hemp oil. That way it's going to continue to stay food safe. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do the distressing. And I think I used 100 grit sandpaper, and I found out that it was quickly distressing it, so I had to just use a really light hand so I didn't take all of it off. And then I'm just going to take a lint-free cloth and wipe the dust off before I use the sealer. Okay, in the last project, I found this little table at a thrift store over by Seattle. And my daughter and I have a newfound obsession, and it's makeup. And so I wanted to take this little table and flip it into something that she can use to hold her makeup in her room. She's got a really cute little stool and a mirror already mounted to her wall, so this little table can hold her makeup. And I went ahead and cleaned it really well, and we're going to use the DIY cottage color in vintage pink. This is the Jamie Ray vintage line, and so these also are a one-step paint. They have the primer, paint, and sealer in it. However, when you go light color on a dark wood, it will take several coats. So I think this took about 3.5 coats to get a really good coverage on it. And then I went through and did, again, distress a little bit. But I found out after the first coat, you'll see here in just a second, the tannins were coming through. And I kind of figured that might happen. But it'll show you in just a second here. You can see there, you can still see like the stains. And then as I get closer, right in this area right here, you can see that darker color coming through, the bleed through. So what I did was I used the DIY Salvation Solution in Clear, and I put just one coat on and let that dry really well. And that completely stopped any of the bleed through, which makes it nice. So when you use a light color on these dark wood pieces like this, it's probably just a good idea to go ahead and do this coat first, the Salvation Solution, and then onto your paint. And here I am just going to go ahead and give her a little bit of distressing just to kind of match her room. She's got like an old dresser that's a vintage dresser that's distressed, and she's got kind of a boho theme going on in there, but it's just enough to show some wear and to make it look more vintage. And this is the IOD transfer called Whispering Willow. Very popular transfer. My daughter loves all of nature, and so she's into animals and mushrooms and florals. So this was the perfect transfer for her. I decided to choose a little bunny and a couple of mushrooms. And so I'm going to just put him right in the middle there. I'm going to take that liner off and stick the transfer down. Always make sure you put it right where you want it. And then I'm just going to kind of push down on it and start rubbing with the transfer tool first, and then we'll go ahead and flip up a corner and start working our way across. I always like to get one finger underneath and use the tool to kind of guide it back and forth and to push that transfer down. And then I'm going to burnish it with that vellum paper. Just kind of push it down in. Rub it down, make sure it's all adhered. And this just came out so cute. She was ecstatic when she saw it. And I'm going to just use the DIY clear wax. Paint is already sealed, but this little transfer needs to be sealed in, especially if she's going to be using makeup on this. So she's only 8, so sometimes the makeup can kind of go everywhere. So this is her setup. I thought it was so cute. Worked perfect in that little area. And it just is something that we do together now. We go to Ulta and we buy her makeup, and now she has a little area to do her makeup on the days that we don't go anywhere. I said she can do it as long as it's in the house. But if we have to go somewhere, we wash it off. So tell me what you guys are thinking on these little projects here. Are you guys ready for fall? Let me know in the comments below, and we will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, and talk to you soon. Bye.